I am in control of my mind, not the world. At first glance, this might sound like a simple statement, but when you break it down, it is one of the most powerful truths you can ever embrace. Every single day, countless situations happen around you that you cannot change. Traffic jams, delays, someone's negative attitude, unexpected bills, setbacks in your plans, or people doubting your abilities. These are the things most people allow to ruin their peace and dictate their mood. They let the outside world hold the steering wheel of their emotions. But the reality is that while you may not be able to control the external world, you have absolute authority over your thoughts, your reactions, and your inner state of mind. This is where real power begins, because once you realize that control is not about forcing the world to bend to your will, but instead training your mind to respond with strength, calm, and clarity, you free yourself from the invisible chains of frustration, worry, and constant disappointment. When you wake up each morning, you face two choices: to let the events of the day shape your emotions, or to decide ahead of time that no matter what comes, you will remain centered and in control. Too many people step into their days like passengers, waiting to see what will happen, and then they wonder why they are always tossed around by every problem that appears. But those who remind themselves, I am in control of my mind, not the world, step into their days like drivers. They understand that control does not mean controlling other people's actions or outcomes, but it means choosing how they will think and act regardless of the circumstances. This is what separates those who constantly live in chaos from those who rise above it. Think about it: most suffering comes not from what actually happens to us, but from the meaning we attach to it. The world can throw obstacles in your way, but whether those obstacles break you or build you depends on how you interpret them. If someone criticizes you, do you allow your mind to replay those words and poison your confidence? Or do you control your mind by filtering those words, asking whether they hold any truth, and if not, letting them slide off your back? If a door of opportunity closes, do you spiral into hopelessness, or do you train your mind to see it as redirection, a nudge toward something greater? The external world is unpredictable and often unforgiving, but your internal world can be disciplined, resilient, and unshakable if you claim control over it daily. This mindset also protects your peace in situations where others lose theirs. Picture two people stuck in the same traffic jam. One person is slamming their hands on the steering wheel, cursing, fuming, and stressing about being late. The other person takes a deep breath, turns on an inspiring podcast, and decides to use that time to learn something new or reflect on their goals. Both are in the exact same situation, but one has given control of their mind to the outside world, while the other has taken command of their thoughts and turned a frustrating moment into a productive one. This is the power of choosing to control your mind instead of the world. Another critical part of this affirmation is realizing that you cannot control people. You can't control their choices, their opinions, or how they treat you. If you spend your energy trying to change them, you will live in endless frustration. But when you shift your focus inward, you realize that while you can't control people's actions, you can control how you respond to them. You can choose not to let their negativity drag you down. You can decide to keep your values, your focus, and your vision intact even when others try to distract you or tear you down. This is true freedom, because it means you no longer hand over your happiness and your peace to someone else's behavior. Mastering your mind also requires discipline. Left unchecked, your mind will always react emotionally to the world around it. It will worry about the future, replay the past, and get triggered by every challenge. But when you remind yourself daily that you are in control, you train your mind to pause before reacting, to filter thoughts before believing them, and to choose focus over distraction. This is why meditation, journaling, affirmations, and self-reflection are so powerful. They are not just rituals. They are tools for taking control back from the chaotic world and giving it to your disciplined mind. Most people think power means controlling others, but the highest form of power is self-mastery. When you can stay calm in chaos, confident in uncertainty, and unshaken in adversity, people notice. They wonder how you maintain composure when everything is going wrong. That calmness, that confidence, is not luck. It is the result of reminding yourself daily that you are in control of your mind, not the world. And once you truly live by this principle, you stop wasting energy on things outside of your reach and begin focusing all your strength on what you can truly influence: your thoughts, your actions, and your future. I am becoming stronger every day. This is not just a phrase to repeat, it is a mindset, a declaration, and a reminder that growth is a process. Too often, people look at their lives and only see what they have not achieved yet. They compare themselves to others, measure their progress against impossible standards, and convince themselves that they are not strong enough, not smart enough, or not worthy enough. But the truth is that strength is not built in a single moment, and greatness is not achieved in one giant leap. Strength is built little by little, in the quiet discipline of each day, in the choices you make when nobody is watching, and in the commitment to rise again after every fall. When you tell yourself, "I am becoming stronger every day," you acknowledge that you are a work in progress, that every challenge is shaping you, and that every moment is another step toward the person you are becoming. The beauty of this affirmation lies in its focus on growth rather than perfection. Many people stay stuck because they believe that if they cannot change everything overnight, they are failing. They want instant results, instant transformation, instant validation. But real strength comes from consistency, not speed. A tree does not grow tall and unshakable in one day. It grows little by little, season by season, as its roots deepen and its trunk hardens. The same is true for you. Every workout makes you stronger physically, every lesson learned makes you stronger mentally, and every moment of resilience makes you stronger emotionally. Even the days when you feel like you are moving slowly, you are still building, still growing, still strengthening. Think back to the struggles you once thought would break you. At the time, you may have wondered how you could possibly endure them. But here you are, standing, surviving, and moving forward. What once seemed impossible is now a memory of your resilience. This is proof that you are becoming stronger every day. Strength is not measured only by muscles or achievements, but by the ability to carry more today than you could yesterday, by the courage to face what once terrified you, and by the wisdom to learn from the experiences that once confused you. Each day adds to your endurance, your patience, and your ability to handle life's storms. What makes this declaration even more powerful is that it shifts your focus from what you lack to what you are gaining. Too often, people begin their day focusing on what they don't have, what they haven't achieved, or what went wrong in the past. But when you tell yourself, "I am becoming stronger every day," you flip the perspective. Instead of seeing setbacks as failures, you see them as training. Instead of viewing obstacles as punishments, you see them as opportunities to grow tougher, sharper, and more resilient. Every difficulty becomes a stepping stone, and every challenge becomes proof of your progress. This mindset turns even the hardest days into fuel for your growth. There is also an emotional strength that grows quietly within you when you embrace this mindset. Emotional strength is the ability to keep your peace when everything around you is chaotic, the ability to forgive when bitterness tempts you, and the ability to believe in yourself when doubt tries to control you. Every day you resist negativity, every time you choose gratitude over complaint, every moment you pick persistence over quitting, you are building emotional strength. You may not see it immediately, but over time it transforms you into someone unshakable, someone others look to for courage, and someone who carries a presence of calm power. Physical strength, too, is a reflection of this principle. You do not build endurance in a single workout, you build it with repetition, effort, and consistency. The same applies to mental strength. Each book you read, each new skill you practice, each challenge you tackle sharpens your mind and makes it stronger than before. Life is a training ground, and every day offers you the chance to grow tougher, wiser, and more disciplined. The very act of waking up and choosing to move forward, even when you don't feel like it, is a sign of growing strength. This daily affirmation also carries hope within it. To say, "I am becoming stronger every day," is to acknowledge that today might not be perfect, but tomorrow will be better because of the work you are doing now. It is a reminder that you are not stagnant, not stuck, not defined by where you are today. You are evolving, you are building, you are transforming. The person you are today is stronger than the person you were yesterday, and the person you will be tomorrow will be stronger still. This kind of perspective keeps you moving forward, keeps you motivated, and keeps you resilient when life tries to knock you down. It is also important to recognize that strength does not always look the same. Sometimes it looks like pushing through exhaustion, but other times it looks like resting when you need to. Sometimes it looks like standing tall and fighting, but other times it looks like staying patient and waiting for the right moment. Strength is not about pretending to be invincible. It is about adapting, learning, and continuing to rise. Every time you honor your boundaries, every time you show up when it would be easier to give up, every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are adding another layer of strength to your character. When you live by the words, "I am becoming stronger every day," you stop measuring your worth by what you achieve in a single moment and start valuing the person you are becoming through the process. You realize that strength is not about reaching a final destination, but about continuing to evolve, to grow, and to refine yourself each day. It is not about perfection, but about progress, not about instant success, but about steady growth. And when you look back months or years later, you will see how those daily choices, those daily reminders, and those daily commitments built a version of you that is stronger than you ever imagined. I refuse to let fear decide my future. These words carry the weight of a powerful decision, because fear is one of the greatest thieves of potential the world has ever known. Fear convinces people to settle when they are capable of more. Fear whispers in their ear that they are not ready, not qualified, not worthy, and not good enough. It magnifies every risk, exaggerates every possibility of failure, and blinds people to the opportunities waiting right in front of them. Fear does not always scream loudly. It often disguises itself as caution, as hesitation, as the constant need to wait for the right time. But those who live their lives waiting for perfect timing rarely move forward. By telling yourself every single day, "I refuse to let fear decide my future," you are drawing a line in the sand. You are saying that no matter how loudly fear tries to speak, it will not be the voice that determines your choices. Fear itself is not the enemy, it is simply a signal. It tells you that you are stepping outside your comfort zone, that you are about to do something unfamiliar, something that could change you. The problem is not fear, but allowing fear to sit in the driver's seat of your life. When fear makes decisions, dreams are delayed, opportunities are ignored, and progress is postponed indefinitely. People stay in jobs they hate because of fear. They avoid starting businesses because of fear. They silence their own voice because of fear. They walk away from relationships that could have flourished or stay in toxic ones far too long. All because fear convinced them that change was too risky. But the future belongs not to the fearful, but to the bold, to those who feel the fear and refuse to let it dictate their next step. Think about how many lives have been shaped not by actual failure, but by the fear of failure. People imagine the worst-case scenario and never even give themselves the chance to see what could have been possible. They rehearse defeat in their minds so many times that they convince themselves it is inevitable. Yet the truth is, the future is always unwritten until you choose to write it. Fear will try to hold the pen, but you must take it back and write your own story. Every successful person you admire has faced fear, but they refused to give it power over their choices. They launched the business, took the risk, spoke up, moved forward, and because of that, they created a future larger than fear ever wanted them to see. It is also important to realize that fear thrives on uncertainty. It grows strongest in the unknown, when you cannot clearly see what lies ahead. But that is also where growth happens. Every meaningful change in life requires stepping into the unknown, taking a leap of faith, and trusting that you will figure things out as you go. If you let fear make the decision, you will never step forward. You will remain safe, but you will also remain stuck. Refusing to let fear decide your future means embracing uncertainty as a necessary part of growth. It means accepting that while the road ahead may not be clear, your determination will light the way one step at a time. When you adopt this mindset, your relationship with fear changes. Instead of seeing it as a stop sign, you begin to see it as a compass. The things that scare you most often point directly to the areas where your greatest growth lies. Public speaking may terrify you, but perhaps that is exactly where your influence is meant to shine. Starting a business may overwhelm you, but maybe that is where your calling will unfold. Fear tries to block you from the very places where your future is waiting. When you declare, "I refuse to let fear decide my future," You are essentially saying, I will acknowledge fear, but I will not obey it. I will feel it, but I will not follow it. I will notice it, but I will not let it shape my destiny. This principle also applies to the fear of judgment. So many people live lives that are not truly theirs because they are afraid of what others might say. They never pursue their passions because they fear being criticized. They hide their gifts because they fear rejection. But if you allow fear of judgment to decide your future, you will always shrink yourself to fit into other people's expectations. The truth is, people will judge you whether you succeed or fail, whether you move forward or stand still. Since judgment is guaranteed, you might as well choose the path that leads you to growth, fulfillment, and purpose. There is another kind of fear that tries to control people, the fear of success. It sounds strange, but many are afraid of the responsibility, pressure, and expectations that come with succeeding. They wonder if they can maintain it, if they are worthy of it, if others will still accept them once they rise. So instead of walking into their future, they sabotage themselves before they even begin. Refusing to let fear decide your future means rejecting both the fear of failure and the fear of success. It means trusting that whatever comes, you will be strong enough to handle it, wise enough to learn from it, and resilient enough to keep moving forward. Strength against fear is not built in a single moment, but in daily choices. Every time you act in spite of fear, you weaken its grip on your life. Every time you take a step forward when your knees are shaking, you reclaim power. Fear will always exist, but its influence will shrink as your courage grows. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the refusal to surrender to it. Each day you declare that fear will not decide your future. You are choosing courage over comfort, growth over safety, and purpose over hesitation. The truth is, fear will always offer you the smaller path, the safer option, the comfortable choice. It will tell you to settle, to wait, to play it safe. But the future you dream of, the future filled with impact, abundance, and fulfillment, cannot be reached on fear's terms. It is reached only when you decide that fear is not the author of your story, that fear is not the voice you will listen to, and that fear will never be the ruler of your destiny. I deserve to win because I refuse to quit. These words hold a power that few people truly understand. Many think winning is about talent, luck, or privilege, but the greatest victories in life are almost always awarded to the ones who simply refuse to stop. The world is full of people who started with big dreams, powerful goals, and clear visions of where they wanted to go, but most of them never reached the finish line, not because they weren't capable, but because they gave up when it got hard. What separates the winners from the rest is not that they never faced challenges, but that they looked at those challenges and decided, I'm not stopping here. Every time you keep moving forward when others would quit, you increase your chances of winning, and that persistence itself makes you deserving of success. Quitting is easy. Walking away when it gets tough is the natural instinct of the mind that wants comfort. But comfort never creates champions. Comfort keeps people average, while persistence transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. To say, I deserve to win because I refuse to quit, is to declare that you will not let temporary setbacks define your destiny. You understand that the road to success is not straight or smooth. It is full of obstacles, delays, disappointments, and even failures. But refusing to quit means you see those obstacles as detours, not dead ends. It means you recognize that every failure is only feedback, and every setback is simply setting you up for a stronger comeback. Think about every breakthrough story you've ever heard. The author whose book was rejected dozens of times before becoming a bestseller. The entrepreneur whose first businesses collapsed before building a company that changed the world. The athlete who lost game after game before becoming a champion. None of these people had an easy road, and none of them were immune to failure. The one thing they all had in common was the refusal to quit. That refusal to quit is what gave them the right to win. They didn't deserve to win because life handed it to them. They deserved it because they kept showing up long after others had given up. When you adopt this mindset, you no longer measure yourself by how many times you fall, but by how many times you rise. Refusing to quit doesn't mean you'll never feel tired, discouraged, or frustrated. It means that even when those emotions come, you don't let them dictate your actions. You rest, you recover, but you continue. Every step forward, no matter how small, is proof of your persistence, and persistence builds the foundation for winning. The road may take longer than expected, but the fact that you keep moving guarantees that you will arrive. Another reason this principle is so powerful is because quitting always cancels the possibility of winning. The moment you give up, the possibility of success vanishes. But as long as you are still in the game, as long as you are still moving forward, there remains a chance, no matter how small, that breakthrough will come. This chance grows bigger every time you persist. Most people quit when success was just a few steps away. They let the exhaustion, the rejection, or the fear of failure stop them right before the door opened. Winners, on the other hand, refuse to quit even when the finish line is invisible. That is why they cross it. Deserving to win because you refuse to quit is also about character. Anyone can keep going when everything is easy. But when you keep going when everything is against you, it proves something about who you are. It proves that you are committed, disciplined, and determined. Success is not just about reaching a goal, it is about becoming the kind of person who earns it through persistence. Every time you refuse to quit, you are shaping yourself into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. That personal growth is what truly makes you deserving of victory. It's also important to realize that quitting is not just about walking away completely. It can happen in subtle ways. People quit mentally long before they quit physically. They lower their standards, stop giving their best, or settle for less than they know they're capable of. But when you live by the declaration, "I deserve to win because I refuse to quit," you are reminding yourself not to accept anything less than your true potential. You are choosing to give your best until the very end, to stay consistent even when progress feels slow, and to remain committed even when no one is watching or cheering. Life will test your persistence. There will be seasons where it feels like nothing is working, where every effort seems to be wasted, where doors keep closing and opportunities seem scarce. In those moments, quitting will look tempting, but it is exactly in those moments that persistence matters most. Because it is usually when things seem darkest that breakthroughs are closest. By refusing to quit, you position yourself to walk through the door when it finally opens, while others miss their chance because they walked away too soon. When you carry this mindset into every area of life, your career, your relationships, your health, your personal goals, you start to see transformation. In business, persistence builds success. In relationships, persistence builds trust and connection. In health, persistence builds strength and vitality. Refusing to quit is not just about winning one race, it is about developing the perseverance to win in all areas of life. And as you continue to persist, you build momentum, and that momentum becomes unstoppable. The truth is, there will always be people more talented, more experienced, or more connected than you. But talent without persistence fades. Experience without persistence fails. Connections without persistence disappear. Persistence beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. Persistence beats luck when luck runs out. Persistence beats every obstacle because it refuses to surrender. That is why you deserve to win, not because everything was handed to you, but because you earned it by never backing down, never giving up, and never quitting. I will not compare my journey to anyone else. These words hold the power to free your mind from one of the most destructive habits that steals joy, confidence, and focus from so many people. Comparison is a silent thief. It does not come crashing into your life loudly, it sneaks in quietly, little by little, as you scroll through social media, as you look at what your friends are achieving, as you hear about someone else's progress. Without even realizing it, you begin to measure your worth against someone else's highlight reel. Their timeline becomes the yardstick for your success. Their results begin to define how you feel about your own progress. And soon, instead of moving forward with confidence, you become trapped in doubt, envy, and insecurity. But when you declare, "I will not compare my journey to anyone else," you take back your power. You refuse to let someone else's story distract you from the unique path you are meant to walk. Every person is living a different story, carrying different burdens, and fighting different battles. What looks effortless in someone else's life may be the result of years of hidden struggle. The success they display today may have been preceded by countless nights of failure, tears, and doubt, moments you never witnessed. But comparison tricks you into thinking they had it easier, that you are behind, that you are lacking. The truth is, Comparison blinds you from seeing the full picture. It convinces you to measure your chapter 2 against someone else's chapter 20, and then it whispers that you are not enough. By rejecting comparison, you give yourself permission to grow at your own pace, to celebrate your own progress, and to honor the unique timeline of your life. When you live free from comparison, you begin to notice how much energy you wasted focusing on other people's paths. Energy that could have been used to build your vision was instead drained by jealousy and insecurity. Energy that could have fueled your growth was wasted in wishing for someone else's life. The moment you stop comparing, that energy returns to you. Suddenly, you have the clarity to see your own goals more clearly, the focus to put in the work, and the strength to stay consistent. Instead of chasing after someone else's definition of success, you begin creating your own. You realize that success is not about being ahead of anyone else. It is about being ahead of who you used to be. Comparison also creates unnecessary pressure. It tells you that you are running out of time, that you should be further along, that you are already late. But there is no universal timeline for greatness. Some people achieve breakthroughs early in life, while others don't find their purpose until later. Both are valid, both are powerful, and both can lead to impact. Just because someone else reached a milestone sooner does not mean you are behind. It simply means your story is unfolding differently. When you embrace your own journey without comparison, you can trust that every delay has purpose, every setback has meaning, and every step is leading you toward the destination that is right for you. Another reason to avoid comparison is because it often leads to resentment instead of inspiration. When you compare, you look at someone else's success and feel bitterness, as if their progress diminishes yours. But success is not a limited resource. Their win does not take away your opportunity. The universe is abundant, and there is more than enough room for all to thrive. By refusing to compare, you can celebrate others genuinely, learning from their example without losing sight of your own path. You shift from jealousy to admiration, from resentment to respect, and from insecurity to motivation. Comparison is also dangerous because it blinds you to your own blessings. While you are staring at what others have, you miss the value of what you have already built. You overlook the progress you've made, the battles you've already won, and the growth you've already achieved. Gratitude disappears when comparison dominates. But when you tell yourself daily, "I will not compare my journey to anyone else," you train your eyes to see your own progress. You begin to recognize how far you've come, even if you're not where you want to be yet. That awareness builds confidence, fuels perseverance, and keeps you moving forward with hope instead of frustration. Living without comparison also helps you develop authenticity. Too many people lose themselves trying to imitate others. They adopt goals that are not truly theirs, chase achievements that don't align with their values, and shape their lives around someone else's definition of success. But when you stop comparing, you free yourself to be real. You start asking yourself, what do I really want? What matters to me? What kind of life would fulfill me? These questions lead you toward a path that reflects your identity, not someone else's expectations. Authenticity is powerful because it creates joy that comparison can never steal. The truth is, comparison will never end if you let it run your life. There will always be someone richer, smarter, faster, more experienced, or more accomplished. If you allow that to define your self-worth, you will always feel behind. But when you take your eyes off others and put them back on your own journey, you regain peace. You stop running in circles trying to outdo people who aren't even running your race. Instead, you run your own race with focus, discipline, and determination. You measure progress by your growth, not by someone else's achievements. And over time, you will see that the only competition worth engaging in is with the person you were yesterday. "I will not compare my journey to anyone else" is not just a statement, it is a daily practice. Every time you feel comparison rising in your heart, you remind yourself of this truth. Every time you are tempted to measure your worth by someone else's timeline, you redirect your focus back to your own. And every time you feel insecure about your progress, you remind yourself that your path is uniquely yours and no one else can walk it the way you can. I am capable of achieving more than I imagine. This declaration is a reminder that the mind often underestimates what the heart and spirit are capable of doing. Human beings are naturally inclined to doubt themselves, to set limits based on past experiences, current resources, or the opinions of others. But the reality is that your potential goes far beyond what you can currently see. You have reservoirs of strength, creativity, and determination inside you that remain untapped until you decide to push beyond your comfort zone. Every time you challenge yourself, you discover another layer of ability that you didn't know you had. The truth is, most people are living far beneath their potential, not because they lack the capacity, but because they never dared to test the boundaries of what they could achieve. Your imagination is powerful, but even it cannot fully grasp the extent of what you are capable of. Think about the times in your life when you surprised yourself. Maybe it was overcoming an obstacle you thought would break you. Maybe it was achieving a goal that once seemed out of reach. Maybe it was finding strength in a moment of crisis when you thought you had none left. Those moments are evidence that there is more inside you than you believe. The human spirit is built to adapt, to endure, and to rise above. When you tell yourself, "I am capable of achieving more than I imagine," you are opening the door to possibilities you cannot yet see. So often, people let limiting beliefs define the scope of their lives. They say, "I could never do that," or "That's impossible for someone like me," or "I don't have what it takes." These beliefs are like invisible chains, keeping them confined to a small version of themselves. But history is filled with examples of individuals who broke those chains and proved that limits are illusions. Inventors who created things the world thought were impossible. Leaders who rose from nothing to change nations. Ordinary people who transformed their lives by refusing to accept the limitations imposed on them. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who settle is not capability, it is belief. Belief acts like a key. When you believe you are capable of more, you start taking actions that align with that belief. You try new things, you take risks, you push yourself harder, and each time you step forward, you expand your capacity. The more you stretch yourself, the more you realize that what once seemed impossible is now within your reach. The ceiling you thought existed keeps getting higher, and with each breakthrough, your confidence grows. This creates a cycle of expansion, where belief fuels action, action proves belief, and proven belief fuels even greater action. There is also a spiritual dimension to this declaration. Many times, life presents opportunities that look far bigger than us. Dreams that feel overwhelming, responsibilities that feel too heavy, goals that seem beyond our ability. But often those very challenges are placed in our path to draw out the greatness within us. You may not feel ready, you may not see how, but that does not mean you are incapable. It simply means the journey ahead will reveal abilities, strengths, and resilience that you did not know you had. The truth is, you are capable of achieving more, because you were built with more inside you than you've yet discovered. Another key aspect is understanding that capability is not about doing everything perfectly from the start. It is about being willing to learn, adapt, and grow. Many people stop themselves before they even begin because they think, "I don't know enough," or "I'm not skilled enough." But capability grows through action. No one starts as an expert. Every master was once a beginner. Every champion was once a novice. Every leader was once uncertain. The difference is that they stepped forward despite the doubt, and through that process, their capability expanded. You are capable of achieving more than you imagine, not because you already have all the answers, but because you are capable of finding them along the way. Fear often clouds this truth. Fear convinces you to stay small, to only attempt what feels safe, to avoid risks that could expose weakness. But fear underestimates your resilience. Fear forgets the times you've overcome before. Fear ignores the fact that progress always begins with courage. When you refuse to let fear define your limits, you begin to operate from faith instead of doubt, and faith opens doors that fear keeps locked. Every time you act in faith, you grow stronger, and that strength unlocks greater achievements. Think of the mind as a container. Most people live inside a container built from what they believe is possible. The walls of this container are shaped by upbringing, society, past experiences, and self-doubt. But those walls are not real barriers, they are imaginary. The moment you challenge them, you realize they can be broken. Each time you test the edges of your container, it expands, And with every expansion, your life grows bigger, your influence increases, and your vision becomes clearer. The declaration, "I am capable of achieving more than I imagine," is like a hammer that breaks the walls of your container. It reminds you that you are only limited by the boundaries you accept. This mindset also changes how you approach challenges. Instead of seeing them as obstacles meant to stop you, you begin to see them as opportunities to uncover new levels of strength. Challenges stretch you, force you to grow, and reveal abilities you didn't know you had. Without them, you would never discover your full potential. That's why the very difficulties that intimidate you are often the gateways to the greatest versions of yourself. By embracing them, you prove that you are capable of far more than you once imagined. Every day, you have a choice to live within the limits of what you currently believe, or to step into the unknown and test the depths of your potential. Most people will stay confined, living small, safe, predictable lives. But those who dare to declare, "I am capable of achieving more than I imagine," break free from those limitations. They dare to dream bigger, work harder, and pursue goals that others call impossible. And in doing so, they uncover a truth that fear, doubt, and insecurity never wanted them to discover. They are far more powerful, far more resilient, and far more capable than they ever believed. Gratitude is one of the most powerful attitudes you can adopt, because it changes how you see yourself, your life, and your future. When you declare, "I am grateful for where I am and excited for where I'm going," you are choosing to live with both contentment and anticipation. Gratitude grounds you in the present moment by acknowledging the blessings, progress, and lessons you have already experienced. At the same time, excitement fuels your forward momentum, reminding you that your story is not finished, and that the best chapters are still being written. This balance between gratitude and excitement allows you to live fully in the now while eagerly anticipating the future, without falling into frustration, regret, or impatience. Being grateful for where you are does not mean everything is perfect. It means recognizing that even in imperfection, there are treasures worth appreciating. It means seeing the value in the struggles that taught you resilience, the failures that shaped your wisdom, the small victories that built your confidence, and the people who stood by you when things were hard. Too often, people overlook the blessings in their current situation because they are too focused on what they don't yet have. They spend so much energy chasing the future that they forget to appreciate the ground they are standing on right now. Gratitude opens your eyes to the richness of today, showing you that you are further ahead than you once were and more capable than you once believed. Gratitude also shifts your perspective from lack to abundance. When you focus on what you don't have, you create frustration, discouragement, and impatience. But when you focus on what you do have, your health, your opportunities, your lessons, your relationships, your progress, you realize that life has already given you much to work with. This creates a sense of peace that allows you to move forward with strength instead of desperation. Gratitude does not paralyze you, it empowers you. It reminds you that even though you are not where you want to be yet, you already have what it takes to move closer. It creates the emotional stability you need to keep going. At the same time, gratitude does not mean settling. You can be deeply grateful for your current situation while still striving for more. This is where excitement for the future comes in. Excitement keeps you from becoming complacent. It ignites your imagination, pushes you to dream bigger, and inspires you to take action. When you are excited about where you're going, you stop dreading the process and start embracing it. The long nights, the sacrifices, the setbacks, they no longer feel like burdens. They feel like stepping stones to something extraordinary. Excitement makes the journey meaningful because every step you take is connected to a bigger vision of where you are headed. Living with both gratitude and excitement also changes the energy you bring into your daily life. People who are ungrateful often radiate negativity, bitterness, and discontentment. People who lack excitement about their future radiate boredom, stagnation, and defeat. But when you are both grateful and excited, your presence becomes magnetic. You inspire others because you show that it's possible to love the season you're in while still hungering for more. You create an atmosphere of hope, joy, and possibility that not only lifts you but also uplifts those around you. Another powerful effect of gratitude and excitement is that they fuel resilience. Life will always throw challenges, disappointments, and delays your way. If you are only focused on the future without gratitude, setbacks will frustrate you and make you feel like nothing is working. If you are only grateful without excitement, challenges may cause you to settle and stop striving. But when you hold both attitudes together, you create a shield of resilience. Gratitude reminds you that you have already overcome so much, while excitement reminds you that the best is still ahead. Together, they keep you steady in the storm and determined in the struggle. Think about how different your daily actions become when you live from this mindset. If you are grateful for where you are, you don't wake up complaining. You wake up acknowledging that today is another chance to grow. If you are excited about where you are going, you don't waste the day. You invest it into something that moves you closer to your vision. Gratitude gives you peace, excitement gives you passion, and together they make every day a meaningful part of your journey. You no longer measure your life only by the destination but by the joy of the process itself. Gratitude and excitement also build trust in the timing of your life. Instead of comparing your progress to others or becoming impatient because things are not happening fast enough, you learn to trust that everything is unfolding as it should. Gratitude reminds you that you are already blessed in ways others might envy, and excitement reassures you that what is coming will add even more to your life. This trust eliminates unnecessary pressure and anxiety, replacing it with a calm determination to keep moving forward at your own pace. There is also a spiritual depth to this declaration. Gratitude connects you to a higher awareness that life is not random, that every experience has meaning, and that every blessing is a gift. Excitement connects you to faith in what is unseen, believing that greater opportunities, breakthroughs, and blessings are on their way. Together, they create a posture of both humility and faith. Humility to recognize the gift of the present and faith to anticipate the promise of the future. This combination keeps your spirit strong even when your circumstances feel uncertain. Ultimately, the power of saying, "I am grateful for where I am and excited for where I'm going," is that it creates harmony within you. It keeps you from being trapped by the past, discouraged by the present, or fearful of the future. It teaches you to celebrate progress without becoming stagnant, to pursue growth without becoming restless, and to live each day with both peace and passion. It turns your life into a journey that is not just about reaching goals, but about experiencing joy, purpose, and fulfillment along the way.